Hello, everyone. Good whenever it is, wherever you are. Now, we say there are no jobs. We blame the government. We demand employment from the states. But we prefer imports over local goods. We eat imports, we wear imports, and we vibe imports. So here is the uncomfortable question I want to ask. If you are not supporting your local economy, should the state guarantee you employment? Should the state create jobs from thin air and guarantee you employment if you prefer imports over local goods? That is what I want us to talk about in this video. My name is Emmanuel Fonquen, and I have been looking recent developments in America and other countries. We see how Trump is fighting with his tariff tool, trying to make America great again by focusing Americans on consuming local goods. However we criticize his policies, I can guarantee you that in the long run, it will be beneficial to Americans. And this is something I wanted to talk to us Africans about. So, although we don't realize it, this is a real economic dilemma to developing countries. Most of our countries are not as efficient tax collectors as most of the welfare states in developed countries. The amount of taxes that most developed countries collect are able to guarantee certain obligations of the state. But most of our states are not at the point where they've got efficient tax collecting systems to be able to rely on taxes to fulfill state obligations. In some African countries, an average of maybe 1 out of 30 or 40 citizens pay any form of tax. So these leave the states incapable of fulfilling very important obligations like job employment, health care, and infrastructure. That is why I look at this microeconomic aspect of import and local consumption as something that could make a real difference in developing countries. So we've seen, for example, lately, the president of Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré, focusing on converging energies so that the citizens should start focusing on improving the quality of local goods so that they can compete with imported goods inside his country. Customers or citizens would always prefer cheaper good over more expensive one, better quality over poor quality. But we find ourselves in a situation where we are in desperate need to put national interests forward in order to get to the point where we can compete with international market before we even give ourselves the luxury of choice. So I want to focus on this micro aspect of focusing on consuming local goods. The economic of consuming local goods is simple. The chain effect is, if you buy local goods, local companies would have more demand, they would employ more people, they would produce more to satisfy the demands in the market, and then they will employ more people to produce, The currency will stay within the country. The currency will circulate inside the local economy a few times before it goes out. Whilst on the other hand, if you focus and if you rely too much on imports, the local money goes out of the country straight away when you buy imported goods. Now, in the situation where most of our countries are now, we are part of the global economy. So governments cannot enact policies banning imports and stuff like that, because it will be contrary to treaties that governments have signed to respect globalization, trade treaties and all that. So it's up to us citizens to bypass the government and do what is important for the country to grow. So we must become economically conscious of what consuming local products can do to local economy. It can build a foundation for a better state in every aspect. We marvel at global powerhouses today like South Korea, Japan and all that. But they started by protecting local economy, growing local industries, growing local companies, and then getting to the point where these local companies and industries could compete globally. So the growth is always progressive. Again, like in most aspects in our African modern society, we are always putting the cart before the horse. We are starting by getting used to good things, beautiful things, consuming foreign products. But the counter effect is that it destroys our local economy and implicitly destroys our countries and quality of life in general. So if you look at yourself and you are wearing an imported shirt, an imported trouser, and on your table you have an imported tea and yogurt and all that, then you are the cause of unemployment in your country. So you cannot go ahead and blame the state for not creating jobs when you are not taking care of your own responsibility as a citizen to make your economy stronger. So my aim for this video today is to point it out to our people that no matter how a lack of quality and expensive you think your local produce is, you need to start looking inwards, because you are hurting yourselves by importing 90% of what you have on your body. And you should not then turn around and blame the government or blame the state for not protecting you. The state will not have enough money to have hospitals, to have good roads, and to have good schools is if every penny that they produce, you spend on imports. Because it means that every money that the state manufactures goes out. So we must recognize what time it is now and change our economic behavior, change our consumption behavior, change our fashion styles to reflect what we produce. And if we don't produce something, we should not wear it until we get to the point where our economies can sustain our choices, our fashion, our taste. Until we get to that point, then we are not working hard enough to hold our states responsible for producing jobs or for creating jobs. We are the cause of our unemployment as it stands. And until we change our behavior, then we don't have any right to blame the government for not employing us. That is what I wanted to talk about. Let me know in the comment section if you think I'm wrong, and tell me why you think consuming import is not destroying our economies. Tell me why you think it's difficult for you to consume your local goods. Thanks for watching. See you next time.